emerging mode of fashion designer is design time. Finally, because you've worked hard up until this point, so let's have a little bit of fun. So I recommend 5 to 10 styles of what you want to create. Now, why is that? Why less? Why more? Well, it's from my experience, but I need to tell you something. When I work with designers, it is very important to me that they know that at the end of the day, this is their brand, it's their baby. So we're working together as a team and we hit a fork in the road. Do we go left or do we go right? No matter what, at the end of the day, it's their decision. I will explain from my experience, hey, I suggest we go left because I've been through A, B, C, and here's why. But if you want to go right, we'll go together and we will overcome any challenges along the way. So that's totally fine. Do not feel like at any moment you have to agree with me and it's the end all be all no matter what. No, this is your brand and I'm here to help hold your hand. Okay, so the reason of 5 to 10 designs. Number one is because it really fits into the average designer's budget. I've had a designer come up to me and they were like, I want to make 40 different styles, and they were super creative. Great. So I asked them, do you have $1 million? And the answer was no. So we need to be reasonable on what you're going to make because I want you to be able to sell. Then you can expand. Likewise, I've had the opposite client where they had their own private airplane to get around between business meetings, okay? I didn't start them out with 40 styles. We really narrowed it down because it was so important to be able to hone in on their customer and serve them best and say, okay, what does our customer want? That's what we're gonna give them, and then you can expand later on. If you are trying to find a leather jacket, you're going to go to a store that makes great leather jackets, right? You're not gonna walk into a shoe store and say, hey, do you have leather jackets too? So let's start with what you know how to do best, and then we can expand later on. The second thing is the quantity. What do you mean? I'm talking about from the buyer's perspective. So let's turn the tables a little bit. You've gone to a trade show and a buyer comes up to you and they say, cool, what do you make? Oh, I have this one product. They are immediately going to wonder, and they'll not say it to you because they don't want to be rude, but they'll say, are you going to be around here for seasons 2 and 3? Are you going to stick around? Do I know you have the finances and the backing to continue your brand for the long run, because they don't want to sell their customers and shoppers on your product and then you can't deliver, you don't have any more goods. So that is why I recommend a few more than one and not 40. Let's meet in the middle. Okay, so here's a few steps to get you started on design time. Step number 1, you're gonna create a Pinterest board. Now on this board, I want you to really be creative. You can put in 50 to 200 pictures. I don't care how many you want, just get your ideas on paper into Pinterest. Okay, now step 2, you're going to take that same Pinterest board and you're going to narrow it down to, let's say, 30 styles roughly. Now, wait, Brianna, you just told me not to have 40 styles. I know. We're gonna narrow it down together later on, but right now I wanted to unleash creativity and then hone it in on like, okay, fine, I really like this stuff. And then I know I've seen with my designers at a certain point, you really can't narrow it down any further because you're just in love with the products. And I understand that this is really an emotional roller coaster for you right now. So we will do that together. Now, step number 3 is you do not need to know how to design, draw, or sew. This kills me because so many people say, oh, I'm just gonna learn how to sew first and then I'll start my own brand. I just need to learn how to draw first. No, you don't at all. Why are you doing this? Why are you creating your fashion brand? You're doing it to run your own business. You're doing it to make money. You're doing it to love it most of the time. You're doing it also to not stay stuck in your day job. So focus on the end goal because you're not here to learn how to sketch. Yes, it'd be fun. Do that a little bit later if you want to on your side time. Now, the 4th step that you're going to do is remember that luxury challenge that we talked about beforehand? I want you to find your notes and then everything you came up with, you're going to put those into your designs. You have ideas, you have your designs, and now you are going to say, cool, what did I come up with? Luxury, maybe there's bows everywhere on shirts right now. If you want that, you're gonna put those into your designs, and now you've created something that's different than what you originally found on Pinterest. See how that works? Okay, let's check out what Tokes is doing, and I wanna see what designs she has come up with. Only 24 hours. That is the design time limit that I am responsible to turn around a garment and deliver it back to the designer. So that's when I did private labeling for Venus, Ross, Ashley Stewart, and Boston Proper. So they would send me samples, and then I would need to check the measurements against the tech pack and the specs, which is measurements on every angle of the garment, make sure it's accurate, put it into my computer program, and send it back to them and mail the garment. And then, likewise, the designer is also responsible to turn back their approval or rejection or any other changes they want in 24 hours. So we each have this tag team of a plan to make things happen in a timely manner. Now, as a new designer, don't worry, we're not going to do a 24-hour turnaround, but it is good to remember as a designer, it's so easy to get creative. So let's hone in on what you want to make and get the sample to market. So I have your belt pictures from Pinterest up in front of me. Ooh, there's some stuff added to it.
So yeah, I recorded myself sketching and talking, and then one of my girls happened to come along. So then I asked her if I had talked to her about the whole wanting to do belts. So that was a fun conversation. Because she's like, what do you mean you want to sell belts? I have the picture up. Well, the first one I have, because I don't remember the order that I sent them to you, but I have the OB wrap belt picture up, or sketch. So the OB wrap belt, those are the wrap belts that we talked about, where it's literally very simple style, right? It's just a matter of figuring out what the dimensions are going to be in terms of how thick and how long, like what the length will be. Keeping in mind, like I said, that I want it to be friendly and inclusive, where it can fit women of all sizes pretty much. So it would have to be long enough to accommodate curvier women. Yeah, so on the left, I have some little notes in my chicken scratch all over where, you know, I say on the left, one size fits all. Yeah, so want it to be a one size fits all type of wrap belt. And then I have an arrow where I say TTOS logo. So yeah, so I wasn't sure if, again, for this style, since it's a wrap belt, if the logo could essentially go on one of the ends of the wrap, like at the bottom, like could the logo be there? And then I also have a question mark. I don't know if you can see, but if you zoom in, there's a question mark right on the band part to say, could the logo go there as well, be imprinted on there? And then I have an arrow that says quote goes here, which is on the inside of the belt. So I say inside of the belt, given what we talked about last time and how fun it would be to have a quote on the inside.
I would say that, and this goes for all of them, is to select dimensions on here and sizes, and they don't have to be perfect. But okay, where you're just deciding based on what you have in your closet or what you've seen in the store, and just take a ruler measuring tape and just make an estimate. And then obviously we can change it, but just for it to get a good start, you know, like for your belt, for example, that could be an 1.5 inches, or it could be 4 inches, you know.
When you, I guess from an illustration perspective, using Adobe, you know, to then narrow it down, because the idea was I would then take these 5 styles to social media to essentially figure out what people are going to be most interested in, and then we hone in. So that way, don't go too far down the path. If folks are less interested in one, then that's going to help sort of take that out of the equation, if that makes sense.
One of the things I'm thinking on your scarf belt, we'll call it that number 1, is how long is the belt from end to end? So the center front points where they meet, and you start to put the scarf through the 2 grommets. What's the distance there? Like maybe, let's say in your drawing or on you, maybe it's like 2 inches, give or take, the space between the 2. And I'm thinking of what sizes would we have, or how many sizes, right? Because like you said, if they're bigger, then it's fine because there's just going to be more space. But if they're smaller, then you don't want those 2 to overlap.
Right.
You may still need 3 sizes or something, you know?
Yep.
Okay. I like the logo area. That one, that's cool.
For the scarf belt?
Yeah, I'm thinking if it could be, this is a detail for later, but right under the grommet or even closer in the corner. You kind of get hidden that way. We wouldn't want that, but.
Yep.
Another thought is, how long is the scarf? because you're gonna supply them with a scarf, right?
Yes.
I would go on that. I would go all branded. So if you were to look at like a Chanel or a Gucci scarf, it's super branded and it really has imagery and logo, everything all over it, and you can tell it's just like a nice done scarf. It's probably silk, whatever. I would do that for yours because you're offering that they can put in another scarf, and that's really great on versatility, but you actually want them to want your scarf. A belt that had Gucci on it and it came with a Gucci scarf, I probably wouldn't put in another scarf, you know? Like I'd want to keep that Gucci one in there for branding purposes. And we want them to do the same thing with PTOS, you know?
Yeah.
Obi wrap.
Obi wrap. Oh, so yeah, it was funny because that was my first one. So that's why I was talking about that one first. Before. Yeah, so I made a note for what you said in terms of rough dimensions. So how long would that be? Like what would the length be? So I'll have to play around with that because I don't know if you can toggle back to the Word document. It's the gold wrap belt, right? And it's the first picture on page 9.
Oh yeah.
So I like that, but it's so long. So I love the fact that it's long, right? But then this one it's way too long. So that's why I'm like, what's sort of the right balance where it's not that long where it's dangling between her legs the way it is, but it's long enough to accommodate all sizes.
It's pretty cool because it's a statement. And
yep.
You know how I feel like we can't really shorten it in between. Like if it's mid-thigh or if it's at the knees, it's kind of awkward. I'm just thinking of like my thighs, right? And I feel like my thighs are on the larger side. So I don't want to attract them. So if something ends right at my knees, it's going to be like the focal point. But if we continue it down to the calf, basically where she has it, then maybe it may just make me look taller, slimmer. So I kind of like it. And to fit your point that you're saying it would literally fit all sizes, it's golden right there.
Yep. So you like the length of where this one stops right now?
I do think it's pretty cool because is belts. You are a statement girl, you know?
Yeah.
Like we don't get into the norm of whatever Target's making, because that's not, if I'm a buyer, like I don't want to come to you for a Target belt. Another thought that may make things more complicated, but kind of on the engineering side, is what if you could attach lengths? So you're giving people options. Like this long gold one, how could you clip it? I don't know about Velcro, something where you give me the center part belt and then I can choose which lengths. Now I can buy 3 separate lengths from you and then hook on either whichever one I'm in the mood for or whichever one fits me. You know, maybe
What's funny, wouldn't that be cool? I feel like that could work with the scarf actually.
Different length scarves?
You know, because that's what I thought about just now. Because if we went back and say we looked at the scarf one, right?
Okay.
So if you were to go to that last page of the Word document where we have the scarf one, in terms of if people had different lengths, then it's the same effect as the wrap one, except it's, you know, you're just tying it you're putting the scarf through the grommets or the holes, and then it's hanging.
Yeah. Like it's kind of like we're starting to create this family, right? Where is it I'm not saying your overall branding purpose, but one of the things you offer is the different length options.
Yep.
What you're saying. So we could have small scarves and super large scarves would just be really long. And then also for this one, the gold belt, regular length or like regular long and then super long. Wondering how to make that same idea into your other styles.
Let's see.
Totally possible.
I'm going to try it. So I'm going to toggle back to the sketches to see what else we had. So what was your next belt that I sent to you? Was it the metallic one?
It is. Yep.
On the sketches. Okay. So yeah, like I always joke, the metallic is just always, in addition to the wrap, it's just my favorite because I wear that thing with everything. Because again, metallics are neutrals. So yeah, this I would say very simple. Again, even though it's metallic, if there's a way to sort of inscribe the quote again on the inside of the metallic belt, and then I drew a back that was similar to the one that I said I have, where it actually stays, versus we were talking about the chain options, which, you know, there are some chain options in the Pinterest photos that we were looking at. But the problem with that is if the material is not sturdy enough, then I don't want people feeling like, oh, you know, I tried to hook it and the chain fell off or it broke because it wasn't sturdy enough. So I like the idea of the hole option, where you can sort of snap it into holes, if you will.
Well,
so that was, oh, go ahead.
Oh, food for thought. If we're trying to keep this like length options within your, for the metal belt, what if, let me scroll to it real quick. What if we leave it at 0 chain, right? So I could just buy this belt, plain and simple, nothing is dangling. Or I could also get like a metal chain, and maybe it's not 2 chains because they obviously don't need to tie it, but it's literally for design. And then I can buy one that's, I don't know, a few inches, or you can do a foot, and then you could do 3 feet long, 4, 5, 6 feet. Just dangling, and they hook it onto, I don't know, one of the grommets or something from the inside. It'd be cool to have it hanging from where your name is engraved in the back, because that's going to draw the attention right to it.
So would it be like, I'm trying to picture it in my mind. So almost like a charm chain? I'm making it up. Is that the idea, where there's
the 2 before the gold belt, with the one with the signature engraved in the back?
Yes, that's the one you sent me a while ago. Page 7.
So I feel like the chain's always in the front, right? The front left, front right side. So what if you put the chain in the back, following this design with the name engraved in the back where the clasp is? So it's like going over one of the back butt cheeks.
Got it. So it would be chain that's attached to one of the, I don't know what to call them, the 2 ends of the belt that, you know, where one connects into the holes. So the chain would be on, say, one of the ends and dangle.
Exactly. And the chain is going to lead right to your logo, because then it's probably going to fall, if it's on like a back butt cheek, it's probably going to fall on the side of the hip, right? But and if you still follow the with your eye, it's going to lead right to your logo.
Got it. Got it. So the chain would dangle in the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 feet long or longer, I don't know, whatever your style ends up being. Because I see how it can work with the flower one, right? That one's great.
Yes, yeah, because the flower one, which is similar to that, the one we, what page was that? On page 1 of the Pinterest.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you're just gonna have to think how each one of these connects. Like for the floral one, I don't know if Velcro would be reliable enough. So a metal snap for buyer to be able to switch out, right? Short or long.
Right. Unless, is this one designed similar to the corset, where it's just, you have grommets in the flower, on the flower petals, and so then, but that's going back to the scarf idea. Yeah, because then if it's grommets on petals, then you're essentially buying the scarf to, you know, like a scarf to go with it or to go in, and then you're deciding if you want a long one or a short one.
I wonder how we're going to do the grommets on the flower without the flower showing, without seeing the grommets from the outside.
Right.
Literally hiding them on the, let's say, the lining of the flower petal.
Yeah.
I feel like there'd have to be 2 grommets on each side for it to go in and then come back out and then tie your scarf. It's not impossible, just kind of thinking of the logistics of it. That's it then. I'm excited to see these. They're making progress. That was good.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, because I've been thinking about it. I'm like, okay, like you need to, yeah, so, okay.
Yeah, we hashed out a lot of stuff today, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow, it's already 1:57 already. Well, thank you so much. So I will work on my homework, and if anything comes up, I will send you a message through WhatsApp.
Sounds good. Bye, Toast.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
You did an excellent job at
pulling together the designing ideas and branding. Because when it's all in our heads, it's so hard to get it out on paper. But that is how we work as a team to say, okay, what are the ideas up in here? We need to put it on paper. It's very scary and nervous because you want it to be the best product. But there's always this thought in your head of, what if there's a better idea, right? What if there's a design element that I'm missing? That's okay. We will come across it, or it's not meant to be in the product. It's better to get it out in market and see what the people say. So you did really good at creating what you thought you wanted the branding to look like. You put that on paper. And then on paper, you put the designs and the sketches and the graphics and the images of what you thought your belt should look like. And so I was able to take that and understand it and say, okay, I see what Toaks is wanting, and now how do we communicate that to the factory? And it was an easy and smooth transition. I put it into my CAD and my graphics and all the art illustrations, and then we came up with a belt with the right measurements and the right design to show the factory. Good job.
Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up? It's your girl Toaks. How's it going? Happy hump day. Yo, as long as this hump day is better than last hump day, I'll be alright, okay? Because did I tell you how last Wednesday, this was how messed up my day was? I actually went in the men's room at work by accident. Yes, okay? I go in there and I'm like, something looks different. I'm like, why does it look different? And then I look up and there's a guy at the sink washing his hands. And he looks up and our eyes meet. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then I ran out. And then I ran out so quickly. So I was like, I hope I don't see that man on the floor, because you know when he sees me, he's going to point out and say, yeah, that's the woman who came in. That's the foolish woman who came in the men's room. Anywho, so let's hope this hump day is not like last hump day, because that was last Wednesday. Yeah, I will never forget that, because it was a moment.